Well, to talk about what's emerged from the summit so far, I'm now joined live by journalist and political analyst Caleb Maupin, who joins us live here on RTE International. Thank you very much for your time. Good to see you there. So we've been hearing then that some Western powers want even tougher sanctions against Russia. Do you think that's likely?
It is very likely. The Wall Street bankers are determined to drive Russia out of the world economy. As Russia emerges as a stronger power in the field of natural gas and oil, it's a threat to the global hegemony of the big bankers on Wall Street and in London, and they very much want to keep control of the global markets. And they are threatened by Russia emerging as a power in the international markets, and they're doing everything they can to suppress it. I don't think the reason Russia was excluded has anything to do with Ukraine. I think it's about continuing to put pressure on Russia, continuing to isolate Russia. Let's remember that the entire Ukraine crisis was manufactured by the United States. It was efforts from the United States that led to the overthrow of the democratically elected President Yanukovych and the current government in Kiev coming to power. This was all done by the United States. So why is Russia being punished for something that was carried out by the U.S.?
How much power and influence does the G7 actually have right now? There's the G20, there's the emerging economies with the BRICS countries as well. Is the G7 at this moment in time actually that powerful?
Well, we all know that the real decisions are not made in these meetings that are taking place. The real decisions are made in meetings with the leaders of high finance, the big bankers. They're the ones that make the decisions. The figures that are having the meeting right now, these are simply hired actors, hired by the big corporations and the rich and powerful forces in the United States and Britain to kind of lay down the law. And what's very interesting is that Germany and many other countries throughout Europe are basically being forced to work against their own interest in order to help the United States. These sanctions on Russia are benefiting the United States, they're benefiting Britain, but they're not to the benefit of Germany, they're not to the benefit of Poland, they're not to the benefit of many countries throughout Europe, but these countries are basically being forced to go along with something in order to strengthen the United States and Britain.
You say that, and you mentioned specifically there Poland as well. The European Council President Donald Tusk mentioned a so-called community of values and says that's why Russia has been excluded from the G7. Of course, it used to be the G8. What was he referring to there?
Well, it's just a lot of rhetoric, because if there were any values in the leaders of the G7, they would immediately condemn the Kiev junta for what it is currently doing to the people in East Ukraine. People are being bombed, innocent civilians have been killed, there have been blockades, people are suffering in East Ukraine and dying. Why is there no condemnation of the crimes being carried out by the Kiev regime, the unelected regime that was forced on the people of the Ukraine by efforts of the United States? There's no moral condemnation for their crimes, only a lot of propaganda from Russia, and it is still yet to be proven that Russia is even involved in Ukraine. I haven't seen the proof. No proof has surfaced, and they seem to continue to tolerate the crimes of the Ukrainian government. So you know, this moral hypocrisy is just astounding.
So why is Europe, or why are European countries, or certainly some of them, doing that and supporting Kiev, both in rhetoric and real terms as well, if it goes against their interests, as you describe it?
Because they have very much become forced to be obedient servants of the United States. If you look at many of these countries, Germany, Poland, they have U.S. military bases in their country. Their economies are under the control of the United States, and even though it's hurting their own interest, they're basically being forced to go along with the U.S. And we've seen many revelations in Germany and elsewhere that there are many high-ranking government officials who are tired of this. They're tired of the fact that they have this relationship with the United States that simply doesn't seem to be to the benefit of their people. They're not really gaining anything from their relationship with the United States. The United States and Britain are really the only people that are really gaining from it. And it's not the people of the United States that are gaining. There's foreclosed homes all throughout the Midwest of the United States. The economy in the U.S., they say there's a recovery, but it's very bad. The working people of the United States, the working people of Britain are suffering right now. The only people who are benefiting from this campaign of Russophobia and hatred for Russia, the only people that are benefiting are a small group of wealthy bankers.
OK, Caleb Maupin, a journalist and political analyst, thank you for joining us here on RTE International.
And thank you.